But here's the scenario that we have. Okay, I said a moment ago that there's more than 700,000 people across America that are currently in prison illegally and unlawfully because the states didn't follow the procedures, the process necessary to put them into prison. The reason why is because Clause 1 of Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution says no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So that's clear. You must have an indictment by a grand jury before arresting someone and holding them over for a capital or an infamous crime. So the executive branch, the prosecutors themselves, they are the ones that are responsible for determining which charging instrument to use, whether to do an indictment by a grand jury or a presentment to a grand jury or what's known as information. The prosecutor is the one that's responsible for determining which device to use to charge a person with a crime. But here in America, there are 23 states, including Washington, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Connecticut, Michigan, that choose to charge by way of information, not by indictment as required by the Constitution of the United States. So the prosecuting attorneys are making a decision that is having a significant impact on the validity of these convictions, a massive number of them. And these are direct facial constitutional violations, meaning that these people that are sitting in prison are there illegally on something that doesn't even exist because their judgments are void because they derive from an unconstitutional act committed by a prosecuting attorney within the state, right?
Which is all under the guidelines of the Chevron, because they had a right to say this was ambiguous, so I'm going to write pencil in. And then I love that because ambiguous is in itself ambiguous because every person is going to perceive it differently. So according to their own understanding and life experiences and their own paradigms and all that sort of thing. So ambiguous could be every single word that they see because I think that's ambiguous. I'm going to rewrite it. So they actually have the pen to rewrite any portion that they choose, whichever one would benefit them.
Which means that the President of the United States or his agents are altering, amending, or destroying the Constitution of the United States based upon their own ambiguity, right? But what they're doing is they're using what they call their discretion. They say that I can use my discretion to do this or do that because my discretion permits me to do so. But that's not true, because when it comes to a constitutional obligation or a requirement that they have to do that's within the Constitution, then you cannot use discretion with regard to that, because if you use your discretion, that would be abusively because you're breaking the law to do that, right? That would be known as abuse of discretion. So when the prosecuting attorneys choose to proceed in violation of what they're required to do by the Constitution of the United States, and then they come forward with the incorrect charge and instrument to ask the judge to charge this person with the crime without following the procedures of the process required by the Constitution, then the moment that judge takes that device, that charging instrument, and says, this looks good, I'm going to order his arrest, and signs that order for arrest, now you have a conspiracy to deprive of rights that's been established by and between the judge and the prosecuting attorney. So now we've got the judicial branches tied into it. Now, maybe the judicial branch didn't realize that they were making this mistake. Maybe they didn't realize because they're not the ones responsible for bringing the charging instrument, but they are responsible for making sure that all the proper documentation is in place before they order the arrest. And failure to do so means that they are implicated in it because of their complacency